everyone to Ensemble Volume 16. My name is Victoria Natarelli, and I'm joined by Jesse Einhorn today, StockX's senior economist, for a conversation on cashing in on cultural capital. Thank you, Jesse, for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here, Victoria. Thanks for having me.
From sneakers to apparel to collectibles, a growing number of consumers are purchasing goods with future returns in mind. This discussion will explore how a new generation of consumers are using their cultural knowledge to benefit themselves financially. It will also take a look at how collaboration strategies have played a role in this trend. To get us started, how should we define the term cultural capital? What is fueling the rise of this cultural capital paradigm?
The term cultural capital actually comes from the field of sociology. It was popularized by a French sociologist named Pierre Bourdieu. And what his insight was is that there are certain forms of cultural knowledge, certain forms of taste and sort of cultural savvy that really benefit people in real material economic ways. With the rise of current culture products like sneakers and trading cards, and other in-demand assets, you really have a new form of cultural capital and a new way in which young people specifically are able to convert their cultural knowledge into real financial gains. Sneakers, streetwear, trading cards, limited edition comic books, and other collectibles. What they all have is this uniquely dual character where they are one part consumable product, right? There's something you wear and something you purchase to consume and have use value on, show off to your friends. But they also have this other character, which is as a collectible financial asset, something that has long-term value, something that you have as part of your portfolio of assets. And so, whether it be a Louis Vuitton handbag or a Supreme Box logo shirt or a rare limited edition Jordan, or maybe it's a rookie card of your childhood hero, Kobe Bryant. In all of these cases, these current culture products aren't just being consumed, they're also being invested in. And this is a whole new paradigm that we're really seeing take over and just resonate with a larger and larger group of next-gen consumers.
So did you notice in the last, 18 months or so, total chill year and a half, that there was an acceleration of this paradigm through COVID and the lockdowns?
Yeah, we did. We really saw it almost immediately. Once lockdowns began, there was a really huge surge on both the buy side and the sell side of our marketplace. A lot of people were stuck at home. They were looking through their closets and looking through their old trading card collections. A lot of them rediscovered these old hobbies and these old products that now have this incredible value. So if you look at trading cards, for instance, this is something where prices for trading cards, doubled, tripled, quadrupled in some cases over the course of the last year. And a lot of this was timed almost exactly with the onset of the pandemic because of all these macro trends.
What demographics do you see are taking advantage of this the most? And is it primarily a millennial Gen Z thing? Or are we seeing the other generations participating too?
The majority of people that use StockX are millennials and Gen Z. The majority are under the age of 35. At the same time, we're also seeing a lot of growth at the upper end of the spectrum. So, users over the age of 35, who are a bit older, a little closer, full disclosure, to my age. And these generational dynamics, when you think about it, really make a lot of sense. Again, using the example of, say, Jordans, sneakers, Air Jordans, or trading cards. A lot of cases, what you see here is a generational dynamic where people like me who grew up in the 80s and 90s, who were obsessed with Michael Jordan sneakers and were obsessed with Michael Jordan trading cards, they've now rediscovered these same passions in their older years, so to speak, and are finally have the disposable income to do something about it. So, and they're learning from, their kids and the young people, where to shop for those things. So they learn that, whoa, where can I get these trading cards? Where can I get these sneakers? Well, I can go to this platform called StockX.
What role do collaborations play, and how does the collaboration aspect of all this work?
Collaborations are just a key part of what makes this market, move. What's driving this entire current culture product universe. When you think about collaborations, it started in the sneaker space with athletes, but it is just ballooned to include pretty much every popular culture figure you could think of, everyone from art to video games to music and fashion. Then you've got video game companies like PlayStation and Xbox putting out limited edition sneakers. So you've got all these different brands kind of collaborating and mixing together and cross-pollinating. And what all of the products that I just mentioned have in common is that they're all limited. So, in the case of these collaborations, what a brand does is they partner with an artist and they put out a product with a limited number of items. And those products sell out almost immediately on the retail level. And then they create a secondary market on platforms like StockX, where they sell for huge premiums. When you look at for instance, what has the highest price premiums, what products are the most profitable for sellers and the best products to invest in if you're trying to build your cultural and economic capital, a great product to invest in is Crocs. And these Croc collaborations. They did a collaboration with Post Malone, which sells for really high price premiums. They've done collaborations with Justin Bieber and Chinatown Market and the Grateful Dead. And their average price premium, on average, they tend to go for around 100% above retail. So again, if you're into Crocs, if you're into current culture, you can really make a killing buying these products at retail and then turning around and selling them.
So it sounds like with these examples you just provided, and Crocs being a really good one, that brands are conscious of this trend happening. So is this all very intentional on the brand's part to be responsive to the trends that we're seeing?
They're super responsive to it, and they're super intentional. And what they understand is that if you partner with the right artist, you can really move the market and just garner huge amounts of attention. Cardi B partnered with Reebok. Reebok was like, we want to revive our Club C silhouette, which is a it wasn't a very popular silhouette for many years in the sneaker space. So they partnered with Cardi B and they put out these limited edition collabs. And this created a huge new demand for the silhouette. Trades of Club C's on StockX are up 510% year over year. Or in the case of Adidas, they have another silhouette that was sort of not very popular, not very hyped, called the Forum Low. What they did is they partnered with Bad Bunny, who's this up and coming and super popular global pop star. And those Forum Lows that they collaborate on, ever since the Bad Bunny collab, they're up 550% on StockX. Something like designer brands like Gucci and Louis Vuitton and North Face. We did a study where we looked at all of these designer brands and how they're collaborating with streetwear brands. And what we found is that these designer collaborations, the collaborations between, say, Dior and Jordan or Gucci and the North Face, these collaborations are up 200% over the last 2 years. And this is a very intentional strategy. To get back to your question, what designer brands realize is if they want to appeal to this next gen consumer, and if they want to, build their own cultural capital, the best way to do it is to partner with current culture brands and current culture artists.
If there's someone watching that has a ton of cultural capital, they're on TikTok, they're looking at the Reddit threads, what advice do you have for them for getting into the game?
Think about it the same way you'd think about investing in stocks or investing in other traditional assets, which is you want as much information as you can get, and you want to understand the market before you jump in. And so, one of the benefits of StockX is that we make having that information very, very easy. If you go to our StockX product page, every page has the complete price history of every product, so you can see and make an informed buying decision the same way you'd research Apple stock before investing on it in the stock market. But it's also really important to understand how the market moves and how it works. A lot of the products on StockX, again, to continue this analogy with traditional investing, a lot of them behave just like stocks or bonds in that they appreciate in value over time. So if you look at a brand like New Balance, they've pursued a lot of collaborations recently with really of the moment artists and designers. They did a collaboration with Joe Freshgoods. Prices for that Joe Freshgoods collab are up 500% since February 2020. So basically a 6x increase in less than 2 years. So if you understand, which collaborators are hot and which collaborations are going to be popular in the future, you can really time the market and make an enormous amount of money. Because the people that bought that Joe Freshgoods collab, right, even if they bought it on StockX, even if they bought it for above retail a couple of years ago, they've now seen a 6x increase on their investment.
What is one example of a key moment and like a key cultural moment that increased the value of a product that maybe, or a brand that wasn't seeing the kind of attention before that?
Great part about kind of cultural capital and the great part of this StockX model, right, is that you can invest in products and you can build value in your portfolio while also having a lot of fun. And the most vivid example of this was when ESPN premiered a documentary called The Last Dance in the spring of 2020. And what we saw when that documentary aired, it was a huge cultural phenomenon. Millions of people tuned in. It was like all anyone could talk about on Twitter for a month. And we saw a huge effect on both trades and prices on StockX. So overall Jordan trades, so the number of people who bought Jordans increased 40% after the documentary aired. But even more impressively was that the prices of individual sneakers also grew. So you had some OG Jordans, some of the original Chicago colorways that were trading for around $3,000 before the documentary aired. Those then jumped up massively after the documentary aired, and now they're going for as much as $20,000 or more. You see it across the board too. If you saw recently, Beyonce was spotted wearing a white Telfar bag, and we saw demand for that Telfar bag absolutely explode on StockX after she wore it. Searches and trades went up 500%.
I can admit to being one of the people searching for the white Telfar bag after seeing it on Beyonce.
Right.
And an ongoing monitoring of the bubblegum pink in every size. Are there other items that and other examples that you could share that similarly were something that maybe our generation grew up with, and now there's a whole new resurgence for interest in them?
Trading cards you touched on is one, Pokemon, but also sports trading cards. You're seeing a number of new releases and innovations in that space. You know, it's really interesting. In some cases, the trading card manufacturers are also partnering with streetwear names and putting out limited edition products. You know, that's what, again, just one of the most exciting parts of being in this current culture space. Is just that, you know, you can have this dual character where you can be both an investor and a collector and a consumer all at the same time.
Are there any upcoming collaborations that you see having especially high upside in the coming year?
I'll give one more example, and this is a product that's just about to come out, which is Salehi Bembury and Crocs. This is a new Crocs collab that looks a lot like some of the Yeezy foam runners we've seen. You may have seen pictures of it on social media. It has kind of an exoskeleton look. This is yet another example of Crocs, the brand, partnering with a current culture designer to create a product that everyone is obsessed with. And so I've just seen so many people posting about this pair of Crocs. I'm really excited to see how it performs on StockX, and it will be yet another step of a brand Crocs, just absolutely taking over the sneaker and footwear space. You know, the future is just so unknown at this point, and just really exciting because of the possibility there and the possibility to expand this cultural capital paradigm and just bring more and more people into the market.
Thank you so much, Jesse, for joining us. StockX, the senior economist, has been a great conversation, and really appreciate you coming out.
It was such a pleasure, Victoria. Thanks so much for the conversation.